behind the scenes, the station's constantly going to court representing me. I don't talk about it. I don't have to. That's their business. But thank God they do that for me. Although I'm thinking to myself, you know, we are in an economic downturn. And maybe it's not so smart to make them incur these great court fees. On my behalf, maybe I should tone it down. But I can't do that. I'm in the Channel 5 newsroom. Dan Rather's in town. Dan Rather knows me because I used to fill in on the CBS Morning News with Harry Smith as their weather guy. Nobody watched the program then. Nobody watches it now. They didn't. They don't. It's a terrible show. It was then. It is now. But I was grateful. It was national television. I was so stoked. It was just really a lot of fun. And truly, there were some great people on the show. So Dan Rather knew me from this experience. Mr. Rather's in San Francisco. We had a big El Nino. This is in the mid-90s. And you remember that El Nino we had in the 90s when there were marlin off the coast of San Francisco. It was incredible. I'm not talking a baseball team. I'm talking, you know, marlin off the coast. So it's a big deal. And Dan Rather comes to town. Brian, I'd like you to be my West Coast correspondent on the CBS Evening News. Weekly coming on just to give us El Nino updates. This is very serious stuff, Brian. And I'm thinking, wow, I'll be a correspondent on the CBS Evening News every week. What that'll do for my career, what that'll do for the family bottom line. This is incredible. And then he said, and you know, the link between El Nino and global warming. And you know, I should have just been, just shut up, Brian, just take the gig. But I couldn't, and I said, Mr. Rather, you know, most scientists agree there is no connection between global warming and El Nino. Darts came out of his eyes. That was the end of the conversation, and I was never asked to do that gig ever again. See, that's just what's in my DNA. I can't shut up. Thank you. So finally we found a publisher, WorldNet Daily Books. They didn't want to change a thing with the book. Yes, thank God for Joseph Ferry was the publisher's name. And I will tell you, the book was released by Joseph's suggestion. Well, not his suggestion. First of all, he changed the name from Global Winding to climategate because of these damning emails that were leaked from the UK in November, which had to do with the fact that the people in charge of the Earth's temperature are modifying the Earth's records to make it seem as if it's warmer now than at any time in history. But in my book, I clearly show that that's an absolute lie. The warmest time in modern history was in the 1930s. I go through that in the book. Since the 1940s, we've had a net cooling in temperature. I go through that in the book. So Joseph Ferris said, okay, this will be great. Let's release the book on Earth Day. And he said, you talk about Earth Day in the book and the foundation of Earth Day. So let me just play a little exercise on you right now. I love doing this. Okay? Now some of you may have seen me do this before, but some of you have not. Just play along if you've already seen it. We have some wonderful and great Americans in this audience from the former Soviet Union. Okay? Those of you from the former Soviet Union, I want you to raise your hand. Go ahead, raise your hand. All right, yep, yes, there's Ellie in the back. All right, good. I see, yep, okay. Now, real loud. Tell me, Earth Day. Tell me about April 22nd. What does April 22nd represent to you? Go ahead, real loud.
I know. It's Lenin's birthday.
Lenin's birthday. It's also Earth Day. April 22nd is Lenin's birthday. They did this purposefully. It's in the book. Let me tell you something. At the Earth Day is an assault on man. It's never been a celebration of planet Earth. It's an assault on man.
I didn't know that.
Now you know.
Now you know. Now you know. And that's why when my dad saw that little sticker up that I came home with in 1970 that said "Save the Earth" or whatever the heck it said, he used the Pelosi word. It's in the book. He used the Pelosi word. It's in the book. So the book came out April 22nd. It's I mean, it's just this. It's so exciting to see people want to read this particular book. And I'll tell you, it's true. I'm hoping that this book will stop cap and trade. That's why we need to have the conservative forum surge to make sure copies are ordered on Amazon.com and the word gets out. I'm on radio stations promoting this. I've been on Hannity's show, Levin's show. There are going to be more opportunities. We've got to get the word out on this book. Now, I will also say that, and I talk about this in the book, and I'll just give you the background story. Then we're going to have an opportunity for a few questions, and then I want to close up my portion of the time, and then we'll sign more books. But I got off the air one evening, and I had been talking about Al Gore and his association with the Silicon Valley, and how he stands to make millions off of global warming. And my phone rang, and it's a friend who I knew from a particular charity, and I didn't know anything about the guy's life other than with this charity. And I answered the phone, I said, "Hey, Dave, what's going on?" Dave, not his real name. "Dave, what's going on?" And he says, "Brian, you don't know what I do for a living, but I'm associated with Al Gore. And I've been in rooms with Al Gore, and actually, I've even debated Al Gore. And I want to tell you, you're wrong about Al Gore. He's not going to make millions. He's going to make billions. And I'm tired of this, and I'm going to give you all the information." Oh, yeah, it's in the book. So this guy meets me at a Cupertino Starbucks near Apple the next day, and he's got this satchel with a stack of documents probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. And he said, "This is all open source. I'm not giving you any trade secrets, nothing behind the scenes. I'm just saving you about a year's worth of research, okay? So you'll know exactly how this guy's going to make his money." So we put it together with the book. And it's fascinating. So when Al Gore in the mid-90s was talking about building consensus, he has to build consensus because there is no consensus on this issue. In my book, I talk about the tens of thousands of climate scientists who do not believe any of this stuff, including a guy who walked on the moon with multiple PhDs, including the first woman to hold a PhD in meteorology who used to work for the government, who retired and said, "Okay, that's it. I'm telling you what I really think here." Tens of thousands of scientists who don't believe any of this stuff. Al Gore has to front this lie because he and so many others stand to make billions, some say trillions of dollars off this scam. That's why I wrote the book, ladies and gentlemen. The word has to get out. The truth has to be told. And I have no problem with anybody making a buck, but what they're doing is illegal, in my opinion. Well, I'll take that back. It's not illegal, it's immoral. It's legal. It's immoral. It's immoral. Bernie Madoff is in jail right now, watching all this thinking, how in the world are they able to pull this off? All of those guys that have done time for Enron are thinking to themselves, this is what we wanted to do. And they did. They really did. So again, it's all in the book. I'm really disheartened also, I talk about this in the book, about Schwarzenegger's move yesterday to call drilling offshore a done deal. I said, we're not going to do it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. This was so predictable. 1969 oil spill, Santa Barbara coast. That oil spill, and Paul Ehrlich, by the way, was there. That was the foundation of Earth Day. It's in the book. 1969 oil spill put drilling off the coast of the West Coast, put it off limits forever. 1969 oil spill. All these years later, still off limits. 1989 Valdez oil spill. That wasn't even a rig or a platform. That was what some say was a drunk ship's captain. That put drilling offshore and drilling off limits up there for 20 years. President Bush reversed the moratorium in 2007. Barack Obama redid the moratorium just a couple weeks ago. There's not going to be any more drilling up in Alaska because of that spill. This thing in the Gulf will shut down the Gulf for decades. It's going to. It will. Because these environmentalists play hardball. And unless we elect good men and women into office to fight these battles against them, I've got news for you. We're going to lose out on natural resources. We're the only country in the world that does not drill for the oil beneath its own soil.